Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 2020 Candidates Forum with our City Council candidates here. We just want to start by apologizing for getting a 50-minute late start. We've had some technical issues. We have a very powerful team here at Napa Valley Media that is pulling the weight and getting through these technical issues. So we appreciate your patience, and we are very, very thankful that you have all waited it out. I just have a few announcements I want to make. I'm your president CEO of the American Canyon Chamber of Commerce. For those of you who I have not met yet, I just want to say hello. Also, we have 5 candidates tonight that will be answering a series of questions. We will be giving them a 2-minute time limit, and with that time limit, we will proceed to the next candidate, rotating it, starting with a different candidate each question. We plan to get through 5 questions tonight. We're going to take the full hour and a half, even though we're getting the late start. If we have time, we will take extra questions. Our questions have been compiled from the committee, the Government Affairs Committee through the Chamber, and also the community residents have given their input as well. We have been accepting questions for the last few days. So we're really excited for the questions we've gathered tonight, and we're excited to meet our candidates. So I'm going to go through and introduce our candidates one at a time, but I also want to give a special thanks to Paul Hicks with Payroll Masters. Though you don't see him on the screen tonight, he is my behind the scenes, making sure that the questions are coming quickly and that we're following on track and making sure that we're asking all the important details tonight. So we have Paul Hicks here with Payroll Masters behind the scenes here, and we're thankful to have him. I'm going to start by introducing our first candidate, which is City Council member Miriam Abudamis. She's up for re-election. Second, we have Eric Altman. Yes, this is his first time running for council here in American Canyon. Third, we have Jason Kishnev, and as some of you may remember, he ran for council during the last election. We also have Joey Palma, this is his first time running for city council here in American Canyon. And we have Pierre Washington, who also ran for city council last election. So we're excited to have everybody here tonight, and we're going to get started. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to give each candidate the opportunity to do a 2-minute intro. In that intro, they'll give us a little bit of detail about themselves and any important information that they want to share about themselves to the community. So tonight, we're going to start with Miriam Abudamis, and she is going to give us her 2-minute intro.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight, despite everything that's going on out there in the real world. I also wanted to thank Valerie and the American Canyon Chamber for putting this together for our residents. My name is Miriam Abudamis, and I'm currently the only woman on the American Canyon City Council, and I'm the only woman in this race. I'm running for re-election because I genuinely care about this town and its residents. This town raised me into the person who I am today, and I feel duty-bound to give back to the community that made me who I am. My top 3 issues on the council are traffic, housing, and economic development. I'm currently at the end of my 4th year as a council member, and I have a proven track record of results and experience in these areas. However, we're currently in the midst of a public health pandemic, where I have taken the lead on issues of outreach and education for our minority communities in order to ensure that all of our residents are kept safe and healthy. Furthermore, I've been advocating to the county for more COVID testing capacity, as well as faster turnaround times for results. Hopefully you'll be able to get all of the information that you want from us tonight, but understanding that our questions are limited to 2-minute answers, I want to invite you to check out my website at www.vote4miriam.com. There you can find my key policy issues and my stances, as well as my contact information, and feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much, and I respectfully request for your vote.
Thank you, Miriam. We appreciate your intro. Next, I'm going to move to candidate Eric Altman for his 2-minute intro.
Thank you, Valerie, and thanks to the Chamber overall for doing this tonight. I think this is a wonderful event and really appreciate the opportunity to address the public. I have been a planning commissioner in the city of American Canyon for over a decade. My background, experience, and so on with planning and all the various issues that relate to it, which includes environmental impact reports and traffic studies and so on. I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge. Additionally, I am a very proud dad of two kids who are in 5th and 7th grade in NVUSD schools. My focus is on a lot of issues, and as you'll see behind me, I've got my website also there. It's what's really on my campaign signs, because am going to encourage everyone to please check out my website, contact me with any questions or issues. I will give you detailed responses, detailed information on how we can solve problems and what we need to do to address various issues. I'm not going to give just over the top fluff, but I'm going to get into the weeds. And anybody who wants to, understand, I'm also going to encourage more public input. I think one of the things that we don't do well enough as a city, and we do a lot of things very well, is get public input on various issues. And there are a number of ways that we should be furthering our outreach efforts. And these are all some of the things that I will do. I've got a background professionally in finance and understanding numbers. And because of the pandemic, we're facing a financial crisis. Tax revenues are down all over the place. So anybody who's going to talk about, oh, we're going to add this, we're going to add that, is not living in the real world. We have to figure out how to manage with what is going to for 21 and possibly beyond, hopefully not, but is going to be a very tight city budget. So I'm not sure where I am with my 2 minutes at this point, but I think that's enough of an intro. I will also ask for your vote, but even more importantly, please check out my website, gather information on all of the candidates, and then make a decision. Give yourself time, but check everybody out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate that. Next, we're going to move on to Jason Kishnev, and let him give us his 2-minute intro. I just want to interrupt real quickly. We do have a timer. I know that I cannot see it on my screen. I'm not sure if the candidates can see it on their screen. I'm going to let you talk for 2 minutes, and I will just switch us back to the gallery view when we're getting to the point where you need to wrap it up. And then if you continue to talk, I'll just do a simple time, and then we'll move forward. Does everybody think that sounds like a great process to go through? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So Jason, you're up now for 2 minutes, and we've got you on time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being patient, and for the crew running the show behind the scenes. I know it's been really stressful for the last hour. My name is Jason Kishnev. I'm running for city council and asking for your vote. I've been an activist for several years. I am a member of No Colon Vallejo, of Justice Coalition of Vallejo, of Napa Climate Now. I've been an activist and advocate all over the area. I work for the Bernie Sanders campaign. Locally, some of the things that I've advocated for successfully were the repair of the skate park, the repair of other city parks, banning glyphosate in public spaces or Roundup, and the left turn lanes in American Canyon Road, excuse me. I am not taking any business donations of any kind. I just want to represent you. And so what I bring to the table is activism and advocacy. I'm working for you. That's it. I just want to work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We greatly appreciate that. Next, we're going to move on to Joey Palma. Joey, you have 2 minutes to let us know your intro.
Hi, good evening. It is a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Joey Palma, a candidate for the City Council of American Canyon. I am a resident of American Canyon for 14 years, a father of 4 children. I am married. I'm a local pastor, a business owner, a community advocate, and volunteer. My business is in American Canyon. My church is in American Canyon. My home is in Canyon Creek, where I serve as treasurer of Homeowners Association. I am the president of the Filipino Chamber of Commerce of Solano County. I'm also the president of Renaissance Family Center in Vallejo for women and children. I am educated in business, accounting, law, development management, and theology. I am running for the city council to be a leader in economic development, work with the people, develop, strategize, and make sensible policies to ensure quality of life. My experience as a father, pastor, businessman, community worker, and my education makes me uniquely qualified for the city council. My vision for American Canyon is a world-class, friendly, strong town community, safe, well-balanced, financially strong, and resilient yet efficient. In my platform, I would like to advocate and accomplish economic recovery, public infrastructure, expand public health for the seniors, the disabled, and the marginalized. Please vote for me. My name is Joey Palma. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your intro. Next,
Thank
we're
you.
going to move on to Pierre Washington. And Pierre, you have 2 minutes to give us your intro.
Thank you, Valerie. And good evening, American Canyon. And thank you for hanging in there with us tonight while we were trying to go through our little technical difficulties. So we appreciate you hanging in there. A little bit about me. I'm a man of faith. I attend the Faith Bible Church of Vallejo, where I served as an elder for 4 years. I'm a husband, married to my beautiful wife, Cheryl Lynn. A lot of people in American Canyon know who she is. And I always say that if I could have her face, I'd have this election licked. We have 7 kids together. We have 4 girls, 3 boys, all attended the public school system. I'm originally from Philadelphia. And I tell everybody, on the playgrounds, I spent most of my days. I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. And I spent 11 years of active duty in the Navy, in the aviation field. I worked on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. And then I had to make a pivotal choice in my life after 11 years, because most people didn't know, after 20 years, you could retire. After 11 years, I decided that I needed to leave the Navy and pursue a career in law enforcement. However, I continued to stay in the Navy Reserves for another 11 years, where I worked in the construction field, earning my military retirement. Once I got out of active duty, I transitioned into law enforcement, as I mentioned. I did 7 years with Contra Costa Sheriff's Department, where I worked in the Civil Bureau and the Family Services and Court Systems. I transferred after 7 years with Contra Costa Sheriff Department to Richmond Police Department, you know, the little safe city down east of our location, where I served 15 years. And I worked in a various amount of different bureaus and divisions with the city of Richmond. But the most rewarding position and division that I worked in was the K-9 unit and then the community policing. I spent 6 years in community policing, and I think that's where I developed most of my knowledge of how communities want to bridge and come together and work with their police department. We built a model community policing program, which is still in effect right now today in Richmond.
You're welcome to wrap up if you'd like to finish. But...
I will.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Pierre. As I said, once we start to get close, I'll just switch back to the gallery view, and then you guys know we're wrapping up. I'll let you finish your last couple additional sentences, and then we will move on to the next. I don't want to have to keep calling time just because I don't want to be that harsh tonight, but I am hoping that we all can just stay on track. So as soon as we go back to gallery view, that means that we're going to be moving on.
I don't think we see a change on the candidate side because we get to select our view. And
Okay.
it stays whatever we select.
Okay.
So I don't know if we can just put up a piece of paper that says 30
Yes.
seconds or.
Yes, I can do that. It's not going to be fancy. It's going to be on the back of my notes, but yes, we can do that. Great. Okay, so I'm going to start with Miriam for our first question. I led with her for the intros because we went alphabetical, but we will lead with Miriam with our first question tonight. I will get my 30-second time sign up so everybody knows when to start wrapping it up, and then we will move forward. So my first question tonight is, 2020 has been an unprecedented year with a pandemic, fires, air quality, etc. Looking back, how would you prepare for another similar event?
That's a very relevant and excellent first question to start. So to be 100% frank, I don't think that you can ever fully be prepared for a pandemic or a natural disaster. But what I have learned, being on the council disaster after disaster since 2016, 2017, we've had an emergency every year. What I have learned is that communication is key. And I'm talking about communication with our residents. When PSPS was happening, I quickly learned that I was not getting text messages or emails from the city manager like I was initially. I lost cell phone service. So I went straight over to Parks and Rec, where I knew that there were people there, and I got in touch with our city manager and I said, look, we don't have access to the internet. We don't know what's going on. It feels like a war zone, even though there is no war zone. We just don't have power. So we need to figure out another way to communicate with our residents and make it a norm. So on the spot, we came up with the idea of putting up printed updates at City Hall, at the library, and other locations that our residents frequent. So that's one thing I did learn for those purposes. The pandemic is a little bit different, right? So we still absolutely need to be sharing as much information as we possibly can with our residents, but it's a matter of public safety. And I don't think that we need to wait for a pandemic to be able to work on preventative health, right? So I was working on other preventative health measures with Roderick Sweeney, our Parks and Rec supervisor, before he left. And it was things like healthy cooking classes and exercise to make sure that our community in general, our community as a whole, stay healthy. And that way it is easier to recover during a pandemic if we are all healthy together. We're all stronger together, right? Thank you. That's all I really had. If I continue, I can go on for way too long, but different disasters and different pandemics have different experiences, and you can never be fully 100% prepared, but you can come up with preventative measures and ways of communicating with our residents.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Miriam. As you see, I do have a sign here in my possession, and the sign is going to be backwards. So this is what I'm going to be holding up. That means you guys have 30 seconds. And once you see that, you know, just to start to wrap it up. So perfect. Next, we're going to move to Eric. Eric, you're going to have the same question. If you'd like me to repeat it, I'd be happy to.
Sure, go ahead.
Sure. 2020 has been an unprecedented year with the pandemic, fires, air quality. Looking back, how would you prepare for another similar event?
All right, it's a great question. And I would say, as Miriam did, that you can't fully prepare for the unexpected, but we can do a lot of things to enhance our preparedness for the unexpected. Regarding fires, one of the things, and we can't do this alone as a city, and a lot of this we can't do alone as a city. We have to work and collaborate with the whole county and with the state as well, and with the other counties nearby. But for starters, with fires, my belief is that we don't have in Napa County any fire aircraft. That's something that the county should be looking into doing, and I would encourage the city to push the county on, even though we may be in the least fire-prone part of the county. As far as health issues, such as the pandemic, that one's a real ringer. You know, there's not that much we can do other than try and promote remaining healthy and listening to the scientists when they give us information as to how we should handle issues such as a pandemic. Same thing, earthquakes. We've got good building, specifications and requirements, standards, so that our buildings tend to be pretty safe. But infrastructure in general is an area where we can make significant improvements. Air quality, one of the little things, and it's popped up on Nextdoor recently, and I made this pledge that if elected, I will make sure that we get air quality sensors in the city of American Canyon so that we know what the air quality is, so that all residents have that information and know. I'd like to see us push really hard when working with developers to underground additional lines, the power lines and so on, which help reduce fire issues. These are all steps that I think we need to take and should be taking. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for your statement. Next, we're going to move to Jason Kishnev. Jason, would you like me to repeat the question for you?
No, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I heard a lot of great things out of both Miriam and Eric's answers. I'm not sure I have too much more to add. I think that when kind of the smoke dies down and maybe when COVID dies down a bit, one of the things we can do is stock up on N95 masks when they're not so in demand. I think that all of our communication channels, we got to constantly test them and make sure everybody is communicating correctly, which I'm sure the city probably already does. We have a great CERT team for the real bad emergencies, the real severe emergencies. And I took the CERT training and they told us if there's a serious earthquake or something, we're going to hear a certain siren or something. I think maybe we need to test that system because I've never actually heard, the call, we really need you. So we should give CERT a test. I think that they'd appreciate the chance to utilize that situation. Also, I spoke with a guy who runs an internet provider, and I'm not sure he'd want me to say his name. Thank you. But he showed me a device that if we had a couple of them up on the hillsides, that when the Wi-Fi went down, we could activate these two devices and provide Wi-Fi to everybody so that everybody's phone service works. And that would really help with the communications, especially if there are people outside of the area that are trying to call in and make sure people are okay. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Jason. We appreciate it. So I'm going to add a feature. I'm going to do a 1 minute time and then we'll do a 30-second so that way you guys can stay on top of knowing when to wrap it up. I really wish we could have the timer in the corner of your screen. It made it so much easier, but we're going to bear with it and work through it. So next we have Joey Palma. Same question for you, Joey. If you would like me to repeat it, I'd be happy to.
I think I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
As a good leader, just like a good father, you anticipate all problems, all angles, and you insulate these problems and situations. Let us learn from the past, the experiences that we had, and from there, we prepare, we plan. Don't forget to save for these possible fortuitous events. Let us continue to communicate and work together for the betterment of everyone. These are things that can be taken as positive because these are learning curves to all of us. So I would like to have this word, let us be resilient and positive in every event. We can be a good father, a good leader, plan, anticipate for all of these things. Earthquake, we had planned for it. We didn't plan for these smokes, these pandemics, but again, it has happened in the past. So all of these things we must be aware of. Again, savings is very important. Planning ahead is very important. Anticipate all these issues and problems. As a good leader, we can always do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your statement. Next, we're going to give Pierre Washington the chance to answer the same question. If you'd like me to repeat it, just let me know.
Valerie, yes, please. Would you ask the question one more time?
I would,
please?
yes, I'd be happy to ask the question. 2020 has been an unprecedented year with a pandemic, fires, air quality, etc. Looking back, how would you prepare for other similar events?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for repeating that, Valerie. One of the things I didn't get a chance to get to in my opening statement was that I currently am the security manager for Genentech. I'm also the emergency response team manager as well, which we deal with the same type of situation that you're referring to here with this question. And it's called a BCM, which is a business continuity manual or business continuity plan that you would want to have for your city. Jason hit on it when he talked about the CERT team. We are far in advance when it comes to a city with a CERT team. I'm real proud of the men and women that serve on that team. So we can benefit and leverage the training from that. I actually have reached out to certain CERT team members to come join me at Genentech because of the training that they had and that they bring to the table. I think that preparation and planning is a no-brainer. We have to do it. The CERT team works closely with the fire department. The fire department has been graciously supportive of the supplies that they need. So we are on the right track as a city of our size. So I think that we just need to build on that. We need to make sure that our CERT team has the supplies needed. And we can't always use the excuse that we don't have it in our budget. We have to think forward. We have to think that, hey, look, this can happen. We already know the last 3 years we've experienced fires. So that should be a priority for us to make sure that we are prepared, and preparedness for our citizens, for our residents, to support our CERT team as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre. We appreciate that. All right, our next question is going to be led by Eric, and then we'll rotate through the same order that we just went through and keep going from there. All right, Eric, the question for you is, American Canyon prides ourselves on our wetlands, trails, and open space areas. What are your thoughts on converting the public works yard located on Wetlands Edge to a kayak launch and recreation area?
Love that question, and I am absolutely for it. I don't think I'm going to use my whole 2 minutes here because it's a fairly simple question, but I would be very supportive and have been very supportive of that kind of idea. I'd love to see the corporation yard moved someplace else. The question becomes, where do we move the corporation yard and at what costs to do that? And that's where the challenge really lies. I think that community-wise, most everyone would be supportive of this idea. It would give us much greater access to the river and just create another, I'm going to go to something that I've said many, many years ago. And if you check out my website at ea4amcan.com, you'll see various press articles where I was quoted, and this one's got to go back a long time, but where I've made comments about wanting to see American Canyon as the recreation hotspot for Napa County and for the North Bay. And so adding kayaking and canoeing as another opportunity for us to create more recreation opportunities is certainly in line with something that I've been saying and telling people about for many, many years. So that'll wrap it for me on this one. But thank you, Valerie.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate your response. Next, the same question for you, Jason. I would be happy to repeat it if you'd like me to.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I totally love the idea as well. I've done some kayaking in Vallejo, and I know there's a lot of folks in Vallejo that are trying to do kind of a similar thing with their waterfront there. I totally love the idea. There's also like a riverboat in Vallejo that would be great to have, riverboat cruises up the Napa River. Short answer, I got it. That's great.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate your answer. Next, the question goes to Joey Palma. Joey, would you like me to repeat? Or
I think I'm good. Yes.
Okay.
I totally love the idea, but the question now is, where are we going to get the budget in these times of pandemic? And everybody loves it, but I have some suggestions. Let's partner the development with our own people. I would like to see those things happening. I would like to see the kids riding on horses. I would like to see right on that corner, after you have walked the trails, have ridden your bikes, you have that small restaurants that you can sip your coffee, your cold drinks. And also my concern is cost versus the use of it. So yes, I like it. The budget is a concern. The solution is partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your response, Joey. The same question is up for you, Pierre Washington. If you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
Okay, Valerie. You can call me Pierre. I'm
Okay.
fine with that. I know the
Okay.
formalities and stuff like that. But I would be for it. I think it's a great idea. I think it helps for the quality of life for our residents. I would probably, from a budget standpoint, would probably ask or probably advocate to charge a fee for outsiders that come into our city that would want to take advantage of that launch. I think it should be free to our residents. I think that would also be something that we could promote as part of our identity that we need to develop for American Canyon being an awesome place to come and visit. So I would be totally for that.
Thank you. Great response.
Mhm.
All right, Miriam, last but not least, you're up. If you would like to just give, I can repeat the question if you'd like. If not, you're welcome to take the floor.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the city is actually already in the process of moving the courtyard. So this is an excellent question, and it's prime, right? We're working on moving it, but like Joey said, it's a matter of budget and it's a matter of feasibility. So for me, budget-wise, before I was elected to the city council, I worked on a campaign. It was called the Measure AA campaign. And that was a 9-county ballot initiative. So it was all of the Bay Area counties, and we are one of them. It was a $12 a year property tax increase, or something really low. It was cheaper than buying a daily cup of coffee at Starbucks for property owners. And that the purpose of that was to restore the Bay Area wetlands. And I believe that a kayak launch is low development enough to be able to protect the integrity of our open spaces, which is very important to our residents, as well as still qualify potentially for a Measure AA funding grant. So I love that idea. I think it's great. One of the major things that was not good for me growing up in American Canyon is that there wasn't anything to do, right? So I've been here since I was 2 years old. Imagine being a high school student. I'm sure many of you have been high school students here in American Canyon, but I lived here since before incorporation. I lived here before ACMS. I had to go to Vintage High, so I didn't even go to high school here. So I think a kayak launch would bring something to do for families and their kids together. American Canyon is very family oriented, so it's a great and unique opportunity, but it also preserves the integrity of our open spaces, right? We don't want to see development at the wetlands edge, and I think that this is low development enough to be a great option.
Thank you. Thank you for that response, Miriam. We greatly appreciate. All right, we're going to move on to our next question, and we are going to be leading with Jason this time. In your opinion, what role does the City Council play in economic business development? Specifically, what creative policies can be developed to attract and keep a variety of businesses that serve the diverse needs of our community?
Well, I think when our city was in its infancy, they were, and I'm guessing, but I think that the city leadership wanted to bring in whatever business they could because they needed the tax dollars. But I think that now we're at a place where we should be putting a priority for locally owned business into the general plan, and we should be streamlining that process to start a new business for American Canyon residents. We want locally owned business, and we want green jobs. Which we've been promised for a long time. And if you go out to the industrial sector, there's just a lot of warehouse. I mean, there's other, no offense to the businesses that are out there, but they put in a lot of warehouses the last couple of years, and the warehouses don't bring in as much tax dollars as real green, like solar panel manufacturing would bring in. And they aren't providing the tax dollars that they could be doing. And so we could be going to green business job fairs and trying to attract some of that business here, because that's the way we get cars off the road. It's the way we combat our traffic situation. It's the way we combat climate change, and it's really what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Jason. Joey, you are next with the same question. I would be happy to repeat it if you'd like me to.
I think I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Role of the City Council in economic development. That is one part of my goal. As leaders of economic development, I will work with the people of our community to develop, to vision, to strategize policies for the future of American Canyon. I would like to implement these visions and policies into life, ensure that economic development takes place. Infrastructure are very necessary, like roads, just like in Kimberly, it needs to be repaired. Water supply, waste management, advance in information and communication technology. Those are the things that are needed as leaders of economic vitality for the city of American Canyon, and also create economic drivers towards sustainable economic development, pursuing quality of life. These are the roles of the City Council in economic development. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your response.
Thank you.
Pierre, it's your turn to answer the same question. If you'd like me to repeat it, just let me know.
No, Valerie, I'm good. I'm good. I think it starts with electing visionary leaders. No city will be successful without having a visionary leader. And what I mean by a visionary leader is, what are our city council members doing as far as networking with other communities that are similar to our own? How are we benchmarking other cities' success, other cities' failures, other cities' challenges? And how are we using that to our advantage? I think that's important. I mean, we need to look at cities that are similar to us, that are similar to American Canyon. Your cities like Yountville, Hercules, Pinole, maybe Dixon, and see what are they doing that make things successful for their residents and for their city. I think we need to make workforce development something that we put at the forefront. I think that keeping our talent here, our youth who are very talented here, maybe even taking out a stretch and going out to our local universities and colleges to find out, maybe bring a satellite station or a satellite campus to American Canyon. And understanding what our culture is all about is very important, and use our what we are about as a compelling story for others to want to come here. And last but not least, I would say that we need to address the affordable living situation that we have to draw more people and allow more people to be able to live the dream here in American Canyon.
Thank you so much for your response, Pierre. Next is Miriam. You're up with the same question. If you need a repeat, just let me know. I'm sorry, Miriam, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you please repeat the question?
I would be happy to. In your opinion, what role does the City Council play in economic business development? Specifically, what creative policies can be developed to attract and keep a variety of businesses that serve the diverse needs of our community?
I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. So the City Council's role is to set the policy that governs the city. That's what we do. We create policy, we listen to our constituents' needs, and we set it, right? So I believe the answer to this question is the very first thing that we need to do is create a plan to find out what our residents want to see and what we want to see happen in American Canyon. So when I was first elected in 2016, I was appointed to the city's Economic Development Committee. I kept on bothering our city manager at the time saying, when are we meeting? When are we meeting? When are we meeting? Apparently I was appointed to a committee that wasn't ever meeting. So I took the initiative and revived it. And we did come up with an economic development plan by soliciting input from our residents. We had a joint council. It was more like a town hall setting. So the council even sat on the other side of the dais with our residents to solicit their input. And now we have an economic development plan that still hasn't been adopted. And that's the problem right there. We need to adopt the economic development plan that we've put together, number one. Number two, this economic development plan can then be used to market our city, right? So then we can start reaching out to the types of businesses that our residents want to see here and help them come in here. Developers ask us as council members all the time, what do you want? What would you approve? Because at the end of the day, we have to approve our policy, the city council's policy, has to decide what businesses we actually let into our town or not. And it needs to be aligned with the needs of our residents. So we can use our economic development plan to market our city and bring in those businesses. And the third part of it is to simplify the processes for these businesses and developers. So one of the things that we've done, Valerie, through the Chamber's economic development plan is, which I'm also a member of, I've brought this attention up to Brent, and I let him know that our businesses were complaining that they're having a hard time renewing. So we've gone to an online renewal system, and that's my time, but thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Miriam. I was given this handy dandy little binder that has all kinds of messages that I'll be continuing to pass on. So thank you. Next, the question goes to Eric, and I'd be happy to repeat it if you need me to.
No, I think I got it. Role of City Council and economic development. And it's really simple. The city can set a goal and guideline, but we are a country of private property. So it is the private property owner, or in many cases, the developer, who is going to be the one who is going to come to us with their plans. Now, we should outline what we want, but we also have to be realistic. And I've lived in American Canyon since 2004. And I have heard people clamor numerous times, and check out next door, you'll see it all over the place. Everybody wants a Trader Joe's. You know what? I'd love a Trader Joe's, but we also have to be realistic. So I encourage you, show me the town of 25,000 residents that has a Trader Joe's. I don't think you're going to be able to find it. So that puts us at a point where we have, as a community, to make some really hard decisions that nobody's really wanted to talk about in the past, that I'm happy to talk about. We'll start with, are you willing to back what you want? Again, I'll flip it here. People talk about bringing in great restaurants. Okay. If we want a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star restaurant in American Canyon, we've actually got a pretty darn good one in Lasso. But they're struggling. You know why? Because they don't get enough business from residents in American Canyon. If every resident in American Canyon is going to pledge that they will go and spend $2,500 minimum a year at a restaurant, hey, a bigger restaurant may come in. But that's not likely to happen. So we have to have real conversations, and City Council must lead those real conversations and be authentic with people and say, hey, look, if we want to remain where we are, we're not getting Trader Joe's, but we can make changes, and we can bring and we can grow, which may help us get to a point where at some point down the road, it may be 5 years, it may be 50 years, but maybe we can get a Trader Joe's. So that's sort of my answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate your answers. All right, we're going to move on to our next question, and Joey is going to get to lead this one. So you'll be up first, Joey. The question is, the Napa County Airport is currently reviewing proposals from potential fixed base operators. What do you see the role of the City of American Canyon in the development of the airport?
We can see an opportunity in developing that airport for the benefit of American Canyon. When development happens in our neighborhood, it can permeate on the sides, and we are the closest neighbor of the airport. We can anticipate progress, but we have to ride on that progress. We have to plan. We have to think about possibilities. How would it affect as well our communities? I know there are some brackets that we cannot put some buildings towards this diamond lanes or diamonds area. But again, these opportunities is very important to all of us, being closest to us. That's number one. Number two, as leaders of this city, we can see the potentials of what we can bring in and what we can take out. Definitely, these roads that we are developing over at Devlin Road is very important. Also, SR29, also in Watson Ranch. All of these are priorities and progress, and also advantages for this development. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your comment, Joey. Next, the question goes to Pierre. Pierre, if you'd like me to repeat it, just let me know.
Yeah, I actually would like you to repeat it because I have some concerns about it being a question about the Napa airport, which is out of our jurisdiction, but go ahead.
Okay. The Napa County Airport is currently reviewing proposals from potential fixed base operators. What do you see the role of the city of American Canyon in development of the airport?
I guess the simple answer to that would be, and to be realistic on the pull or the leverage that American Canyon has, is that we need to collaborate with Napa County. Napa County, the city of Napa, they own the airport. We could try to partner with them. We can try to explain how we could benefit from it, but it's out of our jurisdiction. So there's nothing from our city council, from what I understand, that we can do to leverage anything else other than meet with their city council, meet with our supervisor, and see if we could just be a voice for our city. Other than that, all those plans, and I'm sure somebody, Miriam, if anybody, could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that all belongs to Napa County, city of Napa. I'd be more than happy to bring the Napa airport into American Canyon. I think that'd be awesome. I just don't think that we have that ability. We are fighting now. I didn't get a chance to mention, but I'm on the Open Space Commission. We're fighting right now just for about a quarter of a mile of land that runs by the airport, just so we can connect the bike path. So we can't get the bike path going. And we have obstacles. We have Fish and Game. We have the Napa County. We have the city council from Napa County that we have to work with. But I think we all need to get and meet take time, meet at the table, and have that conversation. But I just don't believe that there's nothing that we can do from a city council member based on the question you just asked.
Great. Thank you, Pierre. We appreciate that. And just to clarify, this was a community question that came through. So, certain questions were produced by the chamber and others were from the community. So that was a community question that came through. Miriam, thank you. Miriam, you proceed next with the question. If you would like me to repeat it, I'd be happy to.
I think I'm okay. What I would see the American Canyon City Council's, I do see that we do have a role. First of all, because of our proximity to the area, and second of all, because we provide sewer and water services to that area. So I do believe that we have a role, not as large as the counties, but at least an advocacy one, right? So this is an opportunity for us to designate the airport industrial area as a priority production area. And what that would do for us is make us eligible for grants through the Metropolitan Transportation Commission and the Association of Bay Area Governments. And we can use that money to help relieve the congestion on our roads, right? We all have all sorts of plans for traffic and housing and economic development and what have you, but we always talk about funding as being an issue. So if we turn this area into a priority production area, then that opens us up for more opportunities for grant funding. On the converse, the Bay Area sees a direct link between jobs and housing, right? So if we're turning this into a priority production area, then our RENA allocation for affordable housing may increase. On the plus side, in American Canyon, we've been able to stay up to date with our RENA allocations. We're on track to meet them, and we do have more room to develop, especially if it means getting more money to be able to help with the traffic problem, but it is a balancing act. So we have to decide, and we have to be very careful in what we decide, but we have to decide on what role we want to play in terms of advocating for this or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. We appreciate your response. All right, Eric, it's your turn to answer the same question. If you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
No, I think I've got it. It's all about the airport. Napa County Airport is, if they go ahead and bring a second fixed-based operator in, it may change what the mix of aircraft use at the airport is. I do think that the city has a role. I would agree with Miriam, but I think it even goes beyond the points that she made. We're impacted. We have development zones that are impacted by the airport, Oat Hill being most prominent among them. Now, I have heard, my understanding is that there are conflicting issues regarding some of the properties on Oat Hill and the proximity to the airport, and some of the issues regarding developing parts of Oat Hill. And one of the things we can do is potentially we can look into it as a city council, and then we can advocate if we feel that the county and the airport commission is wrong. And my understanding is that actually there's documentation out there that they are wrong. And so, you know, we have a lot to be able to say, and we have to just stand up for ourselves as a city and push the airport commission and say, look, you know, you're going to do this. We're providing water and sewer. We want this, or we're going to have issues with water and sewer with you guys. You know, we have more clout than we think we do, and we are used to being dumped on by the county, and we need to change that mindset. And I am, you know, Pierre mentioned he's from Philly. I'm a native New Yorker. You know, I think that says enough. I'm a no-nonsense guy. Come at me and, you know, let's do the dance, but I don't do the behind the back dances. I'm straight ahead. I'm straightforward. I call it like I see it. I believe that there is a lot that we can do regarding the county and regarding the airport to make it work for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate your response. All right, Jason, the question goes to you. And if you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Wow. I really like Eric's attitude. Go get him. And I totally support what he's saying. We got to advocate for our clean air and for how an expanded airport would affect our wetlands and the animals species that live there, and how it will affect traffic. And that's great if we qualify for a grant to help us pay for the east and west side connectors that are already in the works. But let's be clear, there's not going to be any extra connectors, I mean, that'll help pay for the plans that are already in the process. I think I'm not a big fan of building more hotels or allowing more hotels. I know there are a couple in the works, but I think that a hotel out by the airport may be a good way to bring some more tax dollars into the city. And if the folks staying at that hotel are not coming all the way into American Canyon, maybe a little bit less traffic, although I guess that's also a little bit less local business that they'd shop. So mostly it's about advocating for the air quality and for the natural environment at the wetlands. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate your response. All right, all the candidates have had a chance to answer that question. I'm going to move on to the next question. Hospitality, I'm sorry, this question will go to Pierre. Pierre, you will get to lead this round. Hospitality and the wine industry are arguably the largest industries in Napa County. What role do you believe American Canyon plays in these industries? As a policymaker, what ideas do you have to further support these revenue-generating industries?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, a fair question. But I think that we can actually go outside of just the wine industry. I would be an advocate to try to bring some other industries into American Canyon. I think that the status quo is to have a wine industry, a wine warehouse. But I would try to say, let's do some forward thinking. Let's do something different. Let's bring in a biotech company inside of American Canyon. Let's bring in a sports type arena into American Canyon. Let's do something to develop some type of identity to where we are not associated just with Napa. And that's probably one of my biggest platforms that I'm pushing for, is that I would like to see American Canyon have its own identity. And what I mean by that is that we always ask, are we a destination spot? Or are we a bedroom community? You know, I think that we're a bedroom community. I listened to the last city council meeting, and I listened to 5 different people say 5 different things that they thought the city was, in their opinion. I think that at the forefront of this election and for our residents, not just the wine industry. We need to see what else we can do, what else we can be, and how else we can promote our city and market our city. If we want to fix Highway 29, we need to bring somebody in here that's going to say, hey, we will give money to the city to make sure that our product can come in and out of your city. I don't think that's going to be done through the wine industry. I think it's going to be done through biotech, through looking at some other green positions, maybe Tesla. Bring some other things different, and that's what we need to do. We need a little bit more forward thinking, and as I say on a lot of my live streams, is that American Canyon, we need to wake up. We need to wake up, do some different things, do some things that are probably outside of the norm. So I would take that question and say that I think we should do more than just the wine industry and bring some other technical fields to support our city finances and budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. We appreciate that response. Miriam, the question goes to you next. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hospitality and the wine industry are arguably the largest industries in Napa County. What role do you believe American Canyon plays in these industries? As a policymaker, what ideas do you have to further support these revenue-generating industries?
So I think hospitality and wine are the largest industries in the county. And here's something for everyone to think about. We, the city of American Canyon, have the most amount of wine physically present in our city than any other city in the county. So just chew on that for a second, right? So I'm always hearing about how we don't want to be like the rest of the county, and we don't want to have so much tourism here, and are we a destination, or are we a drive-through location? But here's the truth. American Canyon is the only city in the world that is in the Bay Area and in the Napa Valley. We're the only city that's part of Napa County and part of the San Francisco Bay Area. We are unique. We are different. We do have a culture. Our residents are younger than the rest of the county. I'm talking about the mean age here is younger than the rest of the county. Our community is very family oriented, and our community loves the outdoors and values our open spaces. Our community is very different than any other city in the county. We do have our own identity. We are unique. And I absolutely agree with bringing our own things to American Canyon. But at the same time, why not capitalize on something that's already here? I know it's not always just about money, right? But if our residents are saying we need higher end restaurants, well, they're all over the valley. So why not have a higher end restaurant? And like Eric said, we don't have the population to support it. But if we had more tourist attractions here, then we can support a high end restaurant, right? We don't need to go, you and I don't need to go to Lasso every single night to make sure that it stays here. But if we had other people coming in from out of town who were staying here because of, for example, the new town center that we're getting through Watson Ranch, with that super awesome outdoor amphitheater and our own unique splash of culture incorporated with also having boutique wineries there, why not? I don't see a problem with capitalizing. Another idea, something that we've been working on, Valerie, through the Chamber's Economic Development Committee, is plug and play, right? We went to Plug and Play, which is a tech incubator, and met with the president and the CEO, or we met with those higher ups. I'm wrapping it up, but we are talking about bringing something from the tech sector to American Canyon, specifically regarding food and beverage. So we can capitalize on what already exists while also making it our own.
Thank you, Miriam. That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I actually was a little late getting your 30-second sign up, so that's partially my fault as well. Eric, the question goes to you next. If you'd like me to repeat it, just let me know.
I would, because I'm not clear that what the question is based upon the answers we've already received.
Sure.
So
I'm going to repeat it for you. Hospitality and the wine industry are arguably the largest industries in Napa County. What role do you believe American Canyon plays in these industries? As a policymaker, what ideas do you have to further support these revenue-generating industries?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So yes, clearly the wine and hospitality industries are the largest in county. What role does American Canyon play in those industries? Well, as Miriam alluded to, we are the warehouse center. We have more wine stored here in American Canyon than anywhere else. So that's what our current role is, but it doesn't mean that's what our role has to remain going into the future. And this is where the Watson Ranch and Broadway District plans really come to the fore in terms of working with our developers to make those things what we want. And whether they play or not with the hospitality industry becomes our decision. And if I'm elected, I'm reaching out to the community to find out what they want. Do they want us to potentially have a winery in town, or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever? Or not interested in that, and they want to keep us, keep the tourists away. Okay, we can do that. But I need guidance. I'm not here to tell you that I know everything. I don't. I'm here to ask for people to give me their ideas and for everyone to speak up. And I want to make government more accessible to everyone so that we can get more input, because I don't think we get enough. Also, with the hospitality industry, I have argued and will continue to vehemently argue that we need to partner with them, because that is what the real solution to Highway 29 traffic is going to be. If we partner with the hospitality industry, we can appeal to the state about loss of TOT tax revenues, gas tax revenues, sales tax revenues, and say, hey, state, look at all the money you're losing. Help us out here. Help us help you. Fix 29 and there will be more coming. So that's the roles that I see with the hospitality and winery industry. So I'm wrapped. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate your response. Okay, great. Jason, you have a chance to answer this question as well. If you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
So currently, we're the more affordable place to live in the area, and so a lot of the grape pickers, vineyard workers live here as well, and so there's a lot of commuting going on, and we're like, if you want to go to Napa but get a cheaper hotel, you go just outside of Napa, which is us, and there's a couple of more hotels in the works. And that's great. I don't have any problem with that. I don't want to close down the warehouse sector that we got going. But I'm not satisfied with just being the warehouse sector of the Napa Valley. That's not enough. And I have talked to the local residents. I ran for city council before, and I've been hearing over and over again for the last several years, what we want is activities for our kids. What we want is activities for our kids. So my campaign is prioritizing community gathering places, activities for the youth, and our health issues. And so what we can do to support the hospitality industry as it is now is by prioritizing our community and building a healthier and happier community where people spend time together more instead of going to Napa to spend time or somewhere else. We can provide a better city that people want to spend time in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate your answer. Joey, the question goes to you. If you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
I think I am good. I can see that hospitality in wine industry is an asset for us. As an asset, there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity for all of us to see how we can adapt, to see how can we benefit from these assets. One way of benefiting from it is to create a culture dynamics in economic development. There are several approaches of economic development. One is a creative culture in development. And what it is? American Canyon is the most diverse city in Napa Valley. We are the second populous city in Napa Valley. And that's an asset. That's also an opportunity. What I'm thinking is, since that we have hospitality, one industry, one of the biggest in Napa County, we can create a creative culture in economic development by investing on our own assets, our own people in our community. How? By creating festivals using those assets, using of food and wine industry right here with our creative culture people. That's one. And through that, because my aspect of running is economic development, I would like to really gain from it in profit so that we can rebound from all of this in our long haul for recovery, making American Canyon financially stable. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your response. All right, everybody's had a chance to answer that question, so I'm going to go on to the next one. We will be starting with Miriam again. The City of American Canyon has always contracted for police services with the Napa County Sheriff's Department. Please state whether you are supportive of this contract for services or whether you intend to create a standalone police department within our city.
That's a very good question. I don't think I have a solid answer for it yet. Let me tell you why. So when I first came to the city council, I was of the mind of we're our own town. We need to have our own police force, right? Why are we contracting through the sheriffs? None of the other cities do that. We got our city in 1992, we incorporated, so we should have our own police force. Now that I'm on the city council and I see the way that our police department operates, even though it is a contract city, I am supportive of the contract. I think our police force does an excellent job, and my fears of, well, they're county sheriffs, they're not going to care about American Canyon, are seriously, they've been washed away so quickly because our law enforcement officers that serve in American Canyon love serving in American Canyon. They take pride in being American Canyon police, and frankly, they take it personally. If someone comes here and commits a crime in our town, they take it personally. So I'm supportive of the contract for that reason. I'm also supportive of the contract because, and this is my lawyer brain, right? So for those of you who don't know, I'm also a practicing attorney full time. We have a contract with the county sheriffs to police our town, but that also means that if something were to happen in the city of American Canyon, the liability is on the sheriff, right? So from a legal perspective, that's nice because let me give you an example. There was the car accident where a police car accidentally hit someone on a bike. Well, that lawsuit wouldn't come to us, the city, so we wouldn't have to spend taxpayer dollars to defend it. That's covered by our contract with the Napa County Sheriffs. So it would go to the sheriff's office and they would spend the money defending it. So that's just an economical and legal perspective that makes the contract a plus. For me, our police chief, our current police chief, is exceptional. He fits in so well with the diversity of our town and appreciates it. So that's my time.
Thank you, Miriam. We appreciate your input. The question goes to you next, Eric. If you'd like me to repeat it, I'd be happy to.
No, I think I've got it. Appreciate it though, Valerie.
No problem.
I'm going to sort of piggyback on what Miriam said here. I think Chief Ortiz is fabulous, and I think he does an outstanding job. And I think we're very lucky to have him. I think that some of the prior chiefs have also been very solid, and we've been very blessed as a community to have great leadership in our police and, frankly, our fire department. Regarding the police contract, I think, again, a lot of comments Miriam made are spot on. One item she missed, I think, is in terms of the cost of creating a self-supporting police department is all of the negotiation, pension benefits, and so on, and the costs of those, which if you look at problem cities, one of the things you're going to find, and in fact, if you just look just south of us to Vallejo and their bankruptcy not that long ago, it was driven to a large extent by contracts or benefits with police and fire, with the emergency service folks. So I think to a large extent, we get to avoid a lot of those issues with the contract that we have with the Sheriff's Department. Now, might I want to see some amendments? Might I want to see us add to our policing and so on? Yes. I mean, I've said to people, I'd love to see us have more community policing, which means having people outside of police cars and in the community. One of the things I've seen in other areas that I think works fabulously well is a bicycle police force. It doesn't have to be every cop on a bike, but I think if we had a few more cops and had a few bicycles and officers constantly riding through communities, it would really be a help. And so that's the kind of changes and additions to policing that I would be advocating for at this point, not a separate standalone police force. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for your response. The question goes to you, Jason. If you'd like me to repeat it, just let me know.
No, I'm good, thank you. I also am a big advocate of community policing. There's not much I would change about our police department, though. As Eric and Miriam both said, we really have a great police department, and I think that the vast majority of American Canyon residents are super happy with our police department. Chief Ortiz is a great guy. I would be open to doing the other thing if the chief came to me and said that, but having toured in the Citizens Academy, the sheriff's office, and talked to Chief Ortiz, I don't think that is what he's advocating. I'd certainly be open to it if he felt that was necessary, but I don't think to see a big change necessary.
Thank you for your response, Jason. Joey, the question goes to you, and if you need me to repeat it, let me know.
I'm good. In as much as we would like to have our own police force, Eric said we cannot really afford it. That is true, because as an accountant, what I always look is the budget. How much cost would it be? And all of these things that have happened. I am very happy with our Napa County Police Force. They are very efficient, patient, respectful, trustworthy. They have integrities. You know, kudos to our Chief of Police, Chief Ortiz, and all the American Canyon law enforcers. In as much as we would like to have our own, American Canyon cannot afford it yet. Probably in the future when we are more rambunctious enough in our city. But we are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate your response. The question goes to you, Pierre. Just let me know if you need a repeat.
Well, I actually think that this question is like right in my wheelhouse. So thank you for the question, whoever put that question out there. I actually think we have an awesome police department. We have an awesome chief. And I would be 100% for continuing as a contract police department for several reasons. We benefit from everything that this contract does, everything from outside agencies, canine, air support, everything that we get. There is a community policing program in place. So, and we benefit from that. Jeff is an outstanding ambassador for the police department here in American Canyon. So I'm an advocate 100% for community policing. Now, Chief Ortiz, I think he's an awesome person that's leading the group as well. But with every good thing, you have certain things that you will want to add some adjustments to. And one of the things that I would do is probably sit down with Chief Ortiz over a cup of coffee and maybe a donut at Dunkin' Donuts. And I would discuss to him the diversity that I think we're missing in the police department. I think that we as a city need to see more people that look like our city looks. And I believe that Chief Ortiz would be open to having that conversation. I think that maybe developing a couple of programs like a cadet for the youth program to kind of inspire and encourage young people in American Canyon to say, hey, look, you can be in law enforcement, okay? No matter what public opinion may have today, which is, in my opinion, temporary. The law enforcement profession will overcome the adversity that we're experiencing right now. I'm a proud retired law enforcement man, and I would like to see American Canyon just add a few more people that look like American Canyon. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that response. All right, we are doing great on time. I'm going to do one more question for the group, and then we're going to proceed into our 2-minute wrap-ups where everybody's going to have a chance to talk about the issues that we didn't cover tonight. So I am going to start with Eric for the next question, and then we will proceed through the rest of the group. Eric, this is your question. How is COVID-19 affecting the city's finances, and how do you plan to handle the impact it will have on the city's budget?
And this is a question that's right in my wheelhouse. So the problems we're having are significant. Now, the one benefit we've got is property tax revenues are not impacted by COVID-19, but virtually every other tax revenue is. As such, we are seeing, and I'm seeing it, not just locally, but across the state and across the country, in my career profession, of decreased revenues. It means that we're going to have to cut back on certain things. I haven't seen it locally, fortunately, but I've seen other communities cut public works contracts for construction. They were ready to award, and then they pulled the contract back because they realized, wait a minute, we might need this money for something bigger or more critical. It is going to have significant impacts, and it's going to have impacts at least through 21 and quite likely into 22 if we're lucky. If things continue, lockdown, shutdown without revenue, it could go on even longer. So we are going to have to work really hard to make the budget fit with the limited dollars without cutting things that are really of critical importance to us. But we are embarking on a financial crisis at this point, and we need stewardship by people who understand finance, by people who have a background with planning and development, with public works construction, with real estate development. And I've got that background. So that's why I say this question is right up my alley, and I appreciate getting asked it. So thank you, Valerie.
You're welcome. Okay, Jason, it's your turn to answer the question. If you would like me to repeat it, just let me know.
No, I'm not sure I have any. Eric answered that so well. I'm not sure what I could add to that and still sound intelligent coming out of it. Yeah, he's absolutely right that the decreased revenue is going to, if it's not already, we're going to have to make some cuts, and it's going to, things that people care about are probably going to be affected, and it's going to hurt for a little while, but we will come through it. We will grow through it. And, sooner or later, this thing is going to go away, and things may not go back to exactly how they were before, but we will overcome. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate that. The question goes to Joey next. If you would like a repeat, just let me know.
I think I'm good. So issue is about financial recovery during this COVID-19. And I can say two ways. As leader of the community, we have the role to revitalize the business for economic development. And also for the citizens, they have a bigger role as well. As a pastor, I would say for every citizen, if you believe, I exhort, trust God, number one. If you have lost a job and you receive your EDD benefits, use it wisely. If you have credit card debts, then pay the cards, prevent late fees, do not ding your credit scores. One more thing, live modestly. If you have retirement savings, do not withdraw, continue to invest it. If you have the money, time to invest. Look for bargain investments. If you have a mortgage and your mortgage is high, get a refi. If you have the money, share, invest. This is really the time to invest when the market is low. Now, one more thing. Insulate yourself for the next economic downturn. So this is two-pronged solutions. While your city is doing well for the revitalization of the business recovery, each citizen has a role to play. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your response. Pierre, the question goes to you. If you need a repeat, just let me know.
Oh, I think I'm pretty comfortable with it, Valerie. COVID-19 is a major catastrophe, as we all know, not only in American Canyon, but on our planet. From a local perspective, we would need to probably reach out to our local businesses. And actually, this should be going on right now. I mean, we shouldn't be waiting for the election to do it. I think we should, as a community, as residents, or as our city council, should be finding ways to support our local businesses. I know Lasso was mentioned, La Strada hasn't been mentioned, but it's another local store, the Thai Kitchen, to name a few, Mizakatea. I mean, these businesses have been in our city for a while, maybe not Lasso, but we as a community need to get together and support these businesses. I also look at the economic side of it. I look at it recently. We've lost a lot of park and recs people, and it's typically the way a city council would want to go is get rid of your parks and recs. And I'd be the first to tell you that I would be totally against that. I think park and recs in our city are the key essential pieces that encourages and add life to our residents. So I would be the biggest advocate to make sure parks and recs are never the one that gets eliminated first. We need to keep in mind our children of our neighborhoods that are disabled, our youth that need programs, our seniors that need care. So those are at the forefront of me. I have some questions about how we currently have our staffing at the city, and I would definitely address those concerns come election time and I get in office. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. The question goes to you, Miriam. If you would like a repeat, just let me know.
Can you please repeat it, Valerie?
I would be happy to. How is COVID-19 affecting the city's finance, and how do you plan to handle the impact it will have on the city's budget?
That's an excellent question, very relevant one. So the city had to cut about $4.5 million from our budget this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And Eric's right. So our funding comes through property tax, and we also get a huge portion of it from sales tax, right? So the property tax, like Eric said, isn't very impacted. And the reason for that is because we pay our property tax to the county, and then the county gives us our percentage of it. So if people fail to pay their property taxes, the county is still indebted to the city, and the county still has to figure out how to pay us. But that's not to say that the county next year isn't going to come to us and say, hey, we're low on funds and we can't pay you. And then what do we do, right? So the next part of that question was, how are we going to deal with the economic recovery? And to me, the answer is we need to invest in our residents. We need to invest in our residents. When our residents feel safe enough and healthy enough, then they're going to go back out into our communities and they're going to continue to invest and help stimulate the economy, right? So first and foremost, I would say we need to invest in our residents. Second is shop local. And I just did a social media blast on exactly this topic. Now's the time for us to come together as a community and support our local businesses. Our local businesses contribute to our local economy. That's going to keep us going, right? And part 3 of that is to continue with the economic development strategy that I set forth before, is we need to continue bringing higher paying jobs to the city of American Canyon so that our residents have the money, have the health, and are safe enough to continue spending and stimulating our economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. I appreciate your response. With that said, we have gone through all the questions that we have time for tonight. I appreciate everybody being patient and staying with us throughout this presentation, even though we are running a little bit behind. I'm still going to give the candidates the 2-minute wrap up. I will start with Eric because that's where, or I'm sorry, I'll start with Jason because that's where we've left off. Eric led our last question. So Jason, you get to lead with the 2-minute intro or close up. You can talk about anything you did not have a chance to touch on tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My campaign, which is not taking any business donations of any kind, wants to represent the people. I want to put the people before the profits of corporations and businesses because people should always come first. We lost our farmers market because it was in a terrible location, and then it was moved to an even worse location where it was not visible from the highway. I think we should be bringing our farmers market back. I think that we should be making it easier for local American Canyon residents to open businesses. I think that we could build a park for disabled children with specific specialized equipment that would be an attraction for all the cities all around. Napa, Benicia, Fairfield, Vallejo, all, parents of disabled children would come here and then hopefully shop our local businesses afterwards. I want to end the ban on cannabis dispensaries and end the ban on backyard grows of cannabis, because the people of this city voted about 60% for Prop 64. And I don't think our city government is very representative of us. We are the warehouse community of the North Valley, and we're the lower income housing of the Upper Valley, and it's time for American Canyon to be for American Canyon residents and not the servant of the North Bay, the North Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate your information. Joey, you have 2 minutes to tell us anything that you didn't get a chance to touch on tonight.
I am a little bit, I would say, advocate or just a careful thought about the traffic congestion or the SR29 problems. Many people are saying that we need to make alternate roads or access roads. But I have an idea. Traffic congestion is a sign of success. It is a sign of economic activity. And it is a manufactured problem by all of us. What I'm saying is, look at this for a moment. Look at the streams where water are coming from. It goes from small tributaries to the bigger one, then to the biggest one. Then it has become a flood. Picture then as a cars coming from your street to the next bigger street, then to the Highway 29. One goes north, one goes south, one goes east, and 37 would be the west. But what I'm saying is, let us address the issue of congestion, address the flood from the source, and we can address it by really altering a little bit of the zoning. Let us be flexible with the zoning. We can actually solve the problem inside American Canyon by really solving the cause of the congestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. We appreciate your statement. Pierre, you're up next if you want to give us a 2-minute briefing on anything you didn't get a chance to talk about tonight.
Thank you, Valerie. And thank you, American Canyon, just for hanging with us tonight. Kind of want to close out on where I try to start in the beginning. And I want to kind of give a little bit of information of what I'm currently doing in my life. I kind of gave you the background of my law enforcement, my military career. But currently, I'm the head of security and the emergency response team for Genentech in Vacaville, where I serve as a national portfolio manager. And at one point, I ran all 15 sites in North America. Locally, I'm part of the American Canyon Open Space Advisory Committee with Barry, Nance, Kim, and Tara, great people who educated me on the open space and the relations to how we need to build our city. I'm also the junior vice commander for the VFW, which is the Veterans of Foreign War. These are veteran men who serve, and men and women who have served our country. And I proudly serve as the vice commander of Post 1123. Not too long ago, American Canyon retired their post. So I am that liaison for the Solano and Napa County area, but I primarily represent American Canyon. I'm looking to add measurable matrix to our local government. It's a need. And keeping our local government accountable and keeping our contractors accountable here in the city. The role of the city council, if you look it up, is that we need to keep these entities accountable for what they're doing. And that's what you should be looking for. How can we keep them accountable? Because of my law enforcement career, I'm not running for city council to run the police department. They have Chief Ortiz. You're gonna hear people talk about their finance department or their finance background, and that's why you should vote for them. My question to you is that we pay very good money for our finance director. We pay very good money for our city manager. Let them do their jobs. And what we might need to do in city council is get out of their way so we can start moving forward. So I look for your vote in this election, and I thank you for your patience tonight.
Thank you, Pierre. We appreciate that. Miriam, you're up next. If you would like to give us your 2-minute wrap up.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone again for attending this evening's forum. We're all dealing with a lot right now, and the stress levels are rampant. And the fact that you took time out of your day to be here with us speaks volumes. Your participation now is more important than ever. This election may be the most important election of our lives, and it truly starts with local government. So with that being said, I would like to urge each and every single one of you to continue learning about each of the candidates and vote based on who you truly believe in your heart is going to be the best candidate for this city. The city depends on it. Don't vote based on friendships and loyalties. At the end of the day, no one knows who you voted for unless you tell them. Vote with your heart and who you believe knows this city and trusts and cares about this city. I've been volunteering with the City of American Canyon since I was 13 years old and have been an advocate for this city ever since. I've spent the last 4 years on the city council, representing the city and advocating for the city and being a public servant. That's 4 years of building relationships and establishing connections. Building relationships such as with Senator Dodd and Supervisor Alfredo Pedroza, who's our representative on the Metropolitan Transportation Committee, to work on traffic solutions, and the rest of the county supervisors to work on issues of housing and economic development, relationships with the chamber and local businesses to work on economic development. I have a track record, I have experience, and I have proven results. I know that you didn't get all of the information that you wanted. The questions I was asked at this forum are different from any questions I've ever been asked at any of these forums. So if you want to talk more one-on-one, please, like I said before, visit my website and reach out to me directly. My email address and phone number are on there, www.vote4miriam.com. Thank you so much, and I respectfully request your vote.
Thank you, Miriam. We appreciate that. Eric, you are next if you'd like to give us your 2-minute wrap up.
Thank you, Valerie, and thanks to the Chamber for doing this. I also would like to thank everyone who has stuck with us through the technical difficulties, and I'd like to thank my fellow candidates, because it's fun when when people get to actually hear different ideas. I hope what you've seen out there is that I will answer questions directly. I will answer questions with lots of information and lots of detail. I've got a lot of experience having been on the Planning Commission for a decade plus. I was involved with the city prior to that. I've been a resident since 2004. I've volunteered with AYSO and with Little League and with Junior Warriors basketball for my kids when they were playing various sports. I've been active and involved. I'm involved with the schools for both of my boys. I have the right background. I heard Pierre's comment, people talk about a financial background, and I think that's a reference to me because I'm the only one. Well, actually, Joey's got some finance as well. But, the fact is, yes, the role of city council is to provide guidance and let the professionals do what they're going to do. I'm not looking to change that, but I think that we need more guidance, and we need people who can provide the right guidance, knowledgeable guidance, rather than, just, hey, this sounds good, or I think maybe, and that's what I'm going to bring to the table, is a 36-year career in financial analysis, risk analysis, data analysis. I understand the nitty-gritty. I can get into the weeds with anybody. When they canceled the second American Canyon Middle School, I was leading the fight trying to prove the demographic data was wrong. The school board didn't want to hear it. They shut me down, as people know. So I'll ask you to vote. I'll ask you to check out my website, ea4amcan.com. I will answer any questions. Please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate that greatly. Okay, well, I gave everybody a chance. Did Jason, did you go for your wrap up? Yes, you went first, correct?
Yeah.
I thought
Okay, you led the, I'm sorry. I was worried all night that I was going to lose track, and I did not until the very last one. So
Did
everybody,
Joey go?
did Joey? Yes, Joey
And
went.
Joey,
Yep.
Yeah,
We led
Did
with,
Joey go?
I thought what you were saying was just an idea. I still have my closing remarks.
okay.
Yeah, Joey didn't go.
So Joey, but Jason went. Yeah, okay. Joey, you can, I'm sorry for skipping over you. You can go with your 2-minute closing remarks.
Okay. I would like to thank the American Canyon Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. As I walk and knock on hundreds of homes in my campaign, I have met you, you have talked to me, you let my name put in your yard, you gave me a bottle of water, you gave me a sandwich, you even let me use your restroom. You have known me personally, you have faith in me, you have trusted me, and you promise you both. And you know who you are. If you're watching right now or listening, I would like to say thank you. I really appreciate you. If there's anything I want you to bring home from this forum, I am running for the City Council of American Canyon to be a leader in economic development. Work with the people, develop strategies, and make sensible policies for the quality of life. My vision for American Canyon is world-class, friendly, strong, small-town community. Safe, well-balanced, financially strong, efficient yet resilient through economic recovery, public infrastructure, expand public health services. Don't forget the seniors, the disabled, and the marginalized. My friends, I have proven my ability in job creations. I structure business, diversify, multiply into a sustainable development with social and environment responsibility. And in closing, I urge you to pray for all people. Ask God to help them. Intercede on their behalf and give thanks for them. Pray for our leaders and all who are in authority so that we can live peaceful and quiet lives marked by godliness and dignity. My dear American Canyon residents, voting is a privilege. Use it wisely. Make a difference by participating in the elective process to get good leaders in place. Your vote, your voice, vote for Joey. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry for skipping over you. I did not realize that I had made that mistake. So thank you for being patient. I appreciate it. With
Thank
that
you.
said, we have heard a lot of great remarks from our candidates tonight. I think we put out some tough questions that got everybody thinking. And I'm thankful to the community who put out some of the questions that I wasn't necessarily leaning towards. So I'm thankful for the different inputs and all the feedback that we're getting from our local community. I just want to make sure that I give all of my sponsors and my partners a special shout out. So I want to say thank you once again to Payroll Masters for being my behind the scenes question maker, and in a normal, healthy environment, he would be sitting right here next to me, but due to COVID, we cannot have him on the screen tonight. So thank you, Paul Hicks with Payroll Masters, for everything you do. Also, Western Wine Services, I want to give them a huge shout out. They gave us a large donation to sponsor the forums and made this possible for us tonight and for the Mayor Forum. So thank you, Western Wine Services and American Canyon, for your large donation. Also, we've partnered with the Women's League of Voters here in Napa County. So we want to give them a thank you. They helped review our questions tonight, and they will be displaying these forums on their website as well. So that's another source of where that information will be displayed. So we're thankful to have them as a partner. And we also want to give Napa Valley Media another shout out and a thank you so much for producing this for
Thank
us,
you.
for getting it taken care of, despite all the circumstances up here in the Napa Valley and personal circumstances for the team. They have put that all aside and made sure that our forum went off without a hitch. Unfortunately, we had a slight delay, but you know, the information is out, the residents get to see it, and that is the end objective. So thank you for everybody who is supporting the chamber, supporting what we do, and allowing us to bring these services to the American Canyon community. So thank you again for your time, for your respect on following time, and everybody did an amazing job tonight. So thank you. I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Valerie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Val.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
thank
everybody
you.
have a great night and stay safe. Thank you.
Yes.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.